but we'll see.
Yeah, get right, fantasy, we roll up our sleeves. Let's go. Live on YouTube, we bring the heat. Fantasy football can't accept defeat. Get right, fantasy, that's the name. Helping champions win the game. Draft day coming, better get prepared. Mock the champions, see who really cared. Study the stats, watch the tape. Championship dreams, we help you escape. Roll up your sleeves, time to get to work. Get right, fantasy, put the haters in the dirt. Mocking champions, testing every pick. Live stream warriors, fantasy so sick. Roll up your sleeves, championship bound. Get right, fantasy, best show around. When the season starts, you'll be ready to fight. Cause we help you get right, get right, get right. Waiver wire moves, we break it down. Trade analysis, wearing the crown. Starter sit decisions, we got your back. Fantasy knowledge, never off track. Sleepers and busts, we call them all. Get right, fantasy, standing 10 feet tall. YouTube live, the energy's pure. Championship rings, that's what we ensure. Roll up your sleeves. Get right, fantasy. Put the haters in the dirt. Market champions, test every pick. Message they better rip. Street warriors, fantasy, so sick. Roll up your sleeves. Get right, fantasy. Practice two round. When the season starts, you'll be ready to fight. When the season starts, you'll be ready to fight. Cause we helped you get right, get right. Micah champions, preseason grind. Sharpen the skills, strengthen your mind. Every Thursday night, we go live. Fantasy knowledge, keeping dreams alive. From the draft, from the championship game. Get right, fantasy, remember the name. Roll up your sleeves, we roll up. Get right, fantasy. Micah champions, live on YouTube. Roll up your sleeves, championship dreams. Get right, fantasy, we help you get right. Get right, fantasy.
What up, world? This is Get Right Fantasy Football here. This is FishnFrank with my boy Dylan here tonight, joining us for a live mock draft here. We got the guys already ready. I'm going to go ahead and start that live draft right now as these guys are ready to get going here. And as we do that, we're just going to kind of go over some injury news and notes and start doing our picks and just talk about, in general, fantasy football players, things, news, whatever you got going on. Hit the chat. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. As you can see, they're already hitting it here right now. I'm actually going to turn down that little notification.
I thought that was
bling,
coming
bling.
from my end.
It was mine, I believe here. I don't even know where I have it at. I have multiple places. I think I just turned it off over here, though. Ooh, that's coming quick here. These guys.
Yeah, they're getting started. I mean, hey, honestly, it's like we're getting close to the season. A lot of these guys, they know kind of who they want, who they're targeting with each pick. I mean, the first 2 rounds are almost dead set. It's pretty easy at this point for a lot of people to start taking who they like.
I know we were just talking off air, and you mentioned you already got hundreds of mock drafts under your belt. I can't say that. I don't have hundreds.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a sicko when it comes to mocks and all that kind of stuff. Just because I think the more that you learn the board, the more that you mock against different people, the more that you kind of learn and can plan ahead for certain guys falling, certain guys rising, reaches that you could take. We're here at my pick at the 106.
All right.
In a 12 team, I know a lot of people, they love JSN. They love Amon-Ra St. Brown. Personally, I think it's the best when you can take as many good running backs as you can. So we're going to start off with Jonathan Taylor.
I'm right there with you this year. I am, and I'll state out right, and I'm going to do it in all my leagues. I'm going to do a 2 RB build most of the time now. I watched last year. I forgot whose show it was. They had think there was a fantasy basement guy. What's that guy's name?
Ron Stewart.
Ron Stewart. You know how he loves his stats and his numbers.
Oh,
That guy was like, historically, it's been like the two RB builds that win on a regular basis and whatnot.
Yep.
And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna stick with. I even passed up my boy CD Lamb right there just to get a running back off the bat. They're just this year, I think specifically, there's a big drop off. I mean, not to say that the other guys aren't good, but those good running backs, they leave the board quick. So I just went ahead and take Saquon there.
And a big thing about it this year too is that it's the guys who don't get those double running backs early, or the guys who go 0 RB. Now you're fighting over that 4th round, 5th round kind of tier break with the Travis Etiennes, with the Cam Scataboos, with the Quinshon Judkins, and even then, those guys aren't guaranteed to be good fantasy contributors. And in a lot of the mocks that I've been doing as well, when I, end up with a Jonathan Taylor, a Christian McCaffrey, and then I have to take a guy like Cam Scatterbo, it becomes frustrating because if one of those guys goes down, like, you don't have an RB3 replacement that you can just put into your lineup. And, the old kind of, if you've been playing fantasy for a long time, better than a lot of people that these guys, everyone needs a running back throughout the season.
Oh yeah.
Like, you can go out and get the hottest wide receiver on the the waiver wire, but it's a scary sight when you've got one good running back and you need one.
Yeah, exactly. And there's it's a desert, right? There's a big drop off, man. I mean, I think there's a good round of round 3 to 6, I think, is a bunch of good, decent wide receivers that you could grab.
Yep.
And there's a lot of middle run-of-the-mill running backs in between there. But I mean, there's a lot of handcuffs happening this year. Just a lot of guys that are just not going to be, just the lead horse back that you need,
Yep.
Let's see if Dead Boys is in here. What up, guys? Welcome back. Happy to the mock with you again. It's been a minute. Yes, it has. It's been a while. I'm sorry that we haven't been around. There's been some changes here at Get Right. But we're holding it down, bro. So thank you for joining us. But anyways, I'm sorry, Dylan. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. So obviously, as we've been saying, I would have loved to start with the 2 running backs. At that price, it was either Genty or a wide receiver. And I think at that point, I don't think I'm desperate enough to try to take Genty in the 2nd round at the moment. And I think part of the process too is knowing that some of these guys at the top of the draft, they're kind of hungry for those 2 running back starts. So if, I don't value the running backs that are currently available at these picks, I think it would be way too early for some of them. Guys like Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Javonte.
Oh, wow.
I don't find them to be 2nd round picks. So I'm hoping, if receiver starts flying off the board, cool, so be it. I can get a running back with one of my next picks. If the board, or if the wide receiver, or if the running backs start going, then I've got some great wide receiver value at this next pick.
Nice.
And Josh Allen,
so we
12.
Ooh, and he took Brock Bowers. Nice.
I mean, I don't
Heat overdrive, bringing the heat with Bijan, Josh Allen, and Brock Bowers, just filling his top players, taking the top player available right now. That's a different type of draft strategy as well.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
if
I don't
a
mind
lot
it.
of guys this year at that 4 or 5 turn, if you really think that a guy like Luther Burden can go out there and be a wide receiver 1 and dominate, then that's a good pick.
Oh yeah, and he can. I mean, I'm looking at Luther Burden myself this year because I have him in a keeper league. I picked him as my last pick last year. This year he moves up 1 spot, so he'll be my second to last pick now. I'll be able to keep him forever, basically, till
And
I
so
don't want him anymore.
right. So here, I kind of look at it, and I'm not the biggest fan of this running back value. I don't trust Josh Jacobs as much as I trust these other guys. There's a tough
Yeah.
decision here.
Oh yeah, you got some work to do thinking about it here.
Yep. And so I think what I'm gonna do is, since I've got two healthy players, I think I can afford to take a bit of a swing. And with Malik Neighbors, I was thinking either him or Chris Olave. Chris Olave, he's got one of the prettiest wide receiver schedules in football this year. It's great, but also at the same time, we're talking a world breaker if Malik Neighbors is healthy. And I think a lot of people next season, when we're doing this, it gets back to August 26th of next year. People are going to be wondering how Malik Neighbors was a third-round pick in 12-team formats.
Well, and I agree with you. I think just because coming back from the injury this year, everybody's kind of tentative. They want to see what he's doing. I mean, speaking of injuries, because I think we wanted to start the show talking about these guys that are injured. One of the guys that's already left. You mentioned Ashanti Genti. He suffered a sprained ankle in practice. He seems highly draftable, still. But people are kind of stepping away from him. I kind of stepped away from Ken Walker just a second ago. I skipped over to Omarion Hampton because he left practice after a hard landing, and he's also nursing a foot injury. But I think he's going to be hitting the stars over there with KC. It sucks with like Jeremiah Love, another guy who probably would have been up here as well. But he got a high ankle sprain, and as we know, those high ankle sprains take a lot longer to heal from. And that's not somebody I'm going to be looking to draft at all. I know that I also want to mention the guy that we had on our cover there, Jamar Chase. He left the knee with a left knee hyperextension. And says he'll be fine, but he's got a precautionary absence. So, yeah, you do take care of your stars. They got kind of injured. I watched the video as soon as it happened. It came up on my feed, and I'm like, ooh. My buddy was just in the draft. He just drafted him, so they're texting him, "Hey, look at your guy just went down."
It looked a lot uglier than it was. I just want to highlight this pick real quick by KJ.
Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
I love the ETN pick. I think that his ADP right now should be a little bit higher. I've got him quite a bit above consensus. I think everyone does. Am I the biggest fan of the Saints this year? Not really. I don't think they've got a great roster per se, but I do think that their schedule is super easy. And Travis Etienne with this Alvin Kamara injury, we're looking at a guy who could dominate for the first 6 weeks of a season. And at that point, it's you're playing with house money. Who knows kind of what who knows what Kamara is going to be? But hey, if I could get an RB2, maybe low end RB1 caliber player with an easy schedule in the 4th round, like
that's funny.
I'll find his replacement after I go 6-0.
Yeah, exactly right. I like your stance there. I mean, I seen that Emeka Buka, he got taken right before I took Ladd. I was looking at him. I'm really looking him to be a breakout this season. Y2 Chris says I love where Neighbor goes in the drafts currently. So yeah, he's agreeing with you. That's a good spot to pick up probably a top number 1 wide receiver who will be in the top 10 this year for sure.
I really was thinking with that pick, T. Higgins, but I felt like the fall for Josh Jacobs was a little too disrespectful to him.
You're not worried about the pending suspension and everything else?
Not really. I mean, we've kind of seen that the NFL, they care more about players doing drugs than players committing crimes.
Yeah.
So it's I feel confident, especially when it comes to these running backs. They don't like to hand out hefty suspensions to exciting, playmakers. But I was very much considering it had Josh Jacobs not been on the board, that pick would have been T. Higgins. I think a lot of people don't understand what T. Higgins truly is. He is kind of like Josh Jacobs. He's boring. He's very boring, but you know what? He's the guy that you set in your lineup and you can forget about, and he'll get you your 15, 16 points a week. until he like pulls his hamstring and he's out for 3 weeks. But then he
Yeah.
goes back to continue being that guy for you. And
Yeah, he's a good steady Eddie.
Yes, and he's not for the teams that are running 2 wide receivers. Like currently, he's not like a guy you should take at your wide receiver 2 slot. But if you are a team like mine and you start off with a hero running back, and then you take an AJ Brown and then a Malik Neighbors, I don't hate the idea of T Higgins being your first flex. I feel like that's a very strong group. But as I was kind of thinking right now, right, like they're just, if you miss out on these running backs right here, and I didn't take Josh Jacobs, my running back 2 slot would be devastating.
Yeah, dismal, right? Starts dropping down to guys like Quinshon Judkins, and you mentioned earlier, Bucky Irving that's getting taken right now. I don't even care about Cam Scatterby. I mean, that guy, he's just an injury waiting to happen, I think.
Yeah,
like, I know a lot of people are high on him. I'm not high on him this year.
He could be explosive this year. I just am worried kind of about his I'm worried about the opportunity. Like, I do think that he can dominate at the goal line, but I just wonder if the Najee Harris signing really does kind of throw a wrench in things. Here, I mean, this is one of my favorite picks I've made so far. We're going to go to Luther Burden. Luther Burden at the wide receiver 3 for my team feels like not much risk for a lot of upside.
Yeah, he stole that guy from me now. Now you just stole him from me.
I kind of like the team that I got going on here. I wish I would like another running back. I'll take a 1Z position kind of toward these rounds. Yeah, Bashal Tootin was the other guy that I was thinking about. But at the same time too, though, as long as you got the 2 dominant running backs, you're pretty good, and you can find a guy later down the board like a Ramondre Stevenson, a J.K. Dobbins, or like a DeAndre Swift, even though he went a little earlier. If you really need to shore up that RB2 spot, if you're kind of worried about, like you said, a suspension or a potential injury, because Josh Jacobs has not been the most durable player in the last couple of years, but there's always, if he's there, he's there, especially in the 4th round at the 4-7, that's a pretty easy way to go. Oh no, did it auto pick you?
It auto picked. I tried to pick Drake May, but it gave me Trayvon Henderson. That's all right, man. It happens. I was on the show.
Your arrow at the bottom, the up arrow. Click that, and then your auto pick should be in the top right. There you go. Yeah, that's tough.
I feel like pausing it and going back and fixing that. That's all right.
Right? Yeah.
No worries. It's part of the show. I was literally trying to click on Drake May, but it's not the end of the world.
I couldn't see the button.
I want to give some shout outs to this guy, Vino Theo. Here says, show can be a crazy second half of the season as long as Tyson stays healthy. But Tyson is already injured, isn't he?
Yes, but
Tyson.
I think what Vino kind of means here is that the beginning of the season is super easy for New Orleans.
Like the schedule, yeah.
And like once they kind of get Jordan Tyson back, I could see them winning a couple of games, having a little momentum, getting Jordan Tyson back, and then kind of blowing up. That's I wouldn't call them the best roster ever, but I think there can be a lot of yards that people, they're Tyler Shuck is not like a low stat guy. Like he throws it. He really gets.
Yeah, he's not afraid of it. He's not afraid to check it. Yeah,
right. He gets his work in.
I also think that the 1-1 or 1-2 is a meta this year. R1 Bijan. Let me go ahead and read the rest of it. I'm gonna look at my guy pick here. So I'm on the clock here. Sorry.
So
look, it comes back, and I'll take Drake May this time for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Whatever.
Nice.
Instead of with my guy. That's all right. I mean, I ended up with Trayvon Henderson, who I would not have drafted. I'm staying away. Well, he could be something. I'm not going to be upset about it. So Anyway, so yeah, he's coming back with this year's meta is R1, is Bijan and Gibbs. R2 is Pickens and Nico, and round 3 is McBride. It seems like an absolute monster start, and yeah, it does. I would be happy with either Bijan and Gibbs, either Pickens or Nico, and then ended up with McBride. That's a nice stack, and I think that's kind of what Heat Overdrive went. He went Bijan, but he went Josh Allen, then got Brock Bowers. So it's kind of a similar number of people that he's looking to draft. Now you're on the clock here, Dylan. What are you thinking?
I just got sniped bad by Cooper.
Tucker Kraft there.
Yeah, I guess I'll just go Harold Finn in there. I was planning on taking Tucker Kraft, and I was going to victory lap that pick all day long. And of course, he goes one pick right before me. This is the perfect spot to really start thinking about those onesie positions. If you're a guy who took Colston Loveland in KJ's kind of aspect, or you took a Brock Bowers or a Trey McBride, you can wait on those. I would still try to bolster the team a little bit to make up for losing out on a potential third round flex. But I think a lot of people, they overheat a little bit and they take, a quarterback and a tight end early. And what I think that does is now it limits truly what your one of your rooms can be. I hate leaving the draft and feeling like I need to make a trade already.
Well, Heat Overdrive was going 0 wide receiver. Now he just picked his first one in Marvin Harrison Jr.
I mean, hey, that is it's boomer bust, but I think that it's a good, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, last place. Which
right.
Some people love that strategy. I don't know if I could go through the season with that much anxiety about my wide receivers,
That's what Premier's on auto pick, unfortunately, right now. Hopefully he comes back. Never know. Some people got stuff going on with their lives, so you gotta step away from these mocks sometimes.
Yeah.
At Godwin, let's see the Neanderthal ball at the end here. The 12 took Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson. Comes back with David Montgomery, who's sharing time. How do you feel about him and Woody Marks over there? Right.
David Montgomery,
he was a beast in Detroit, right?
Really tough. Yeah, he was pretty good. I think though what kind of scares me is that and here
you got 9 seconds. Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Sorry. I got you all talking about it.
No, it's his offensive line terrifies me, and the fact that offense, missing Jaden Higgins, did acquire Kayshon Boutte. But Kayshon Boutte is not a guy that comes in and is a, revitalizes your offense after all of those injuries. I think he's a guy that he's just there. It's like adding Romeo Dobbs to the Patriots offense. This isn't going to unlock some new layer that we've never seen. It's, it's just adding a pretty decent player to a bad offense. And I think David Montgomery is going to have the touchdown upside, but the receiving upside will definitely be capped by Woody Marks. And with Nico, you got to wonder how many times they're just going to let Stroud throw it. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily a great run blocking group. And Montgomery's kind of getting toward the end of his career. I would assume this might be his last team that he ever plays for. It's a matter of, yes, the volume is there, but is this like 2016 David Johnson? Is this 2021 Najee Harris, where you're slamming your running back into the offensive line and hoping that they get 2 yards a play?
Yeah, they bust through, right? Somewhere.
It's going to be a lot of games of 21 carries for 63 yards. Maybe he gets the touchdown, but you would want a guy with that much volume to be a little more efficient, because those running backs, they will drive you up the wall. Like Saquon last year, I had him in my home league, and I was so pissed every single time that he they would just run him straight into the back of his lineman.
Yeah, I mean, you're like, what's going on here? There's no plan behind that. Like,
Yep.
let's
Neanderthal
see.
here with at the 8-1 taking the Rams defense. Now in any league that has a defense, I don't like any defense prior to like round 11, round 10.
I'm with you on that. I'm thinking round 10.
And the thing is too is that yes, the Rams are an amazing defense and they're gonna, probably, if not certainly, be the best defense in the league. But when you take a look, if you want to click on the Rams defense real quick, 5 of their first 6 games, 5 of their first 6 games are against San Francisco week 1, the Giants week 2, good matchup. And then weeks 3, 4, and 5, they're at Denver, at Philly, home against Buffalo. They're almost unstartable for a few weeks. Those first
San Francisco, New York Giants, Denver, Philly, Buffalo. That's a rough little stretch. Yeah.
Also, you are on the clock. Just letting you know.
All right.
Does it have you on auto again?
It's all right, man. We're doing the show. I'm doing all kinds of stuff over here.
No worries.
Yeah, it took me Pitts. It doesn't matter.
It's a hilarious pick, though.
I don't want Kyle Pitts, regardless. He's do not draft for me this year, but it's okay, man. I'm just here to like we're doing the show. I'm more worried about having the show run well than like my picks, actually. But yeah, I like the Kittle pick. I don't like the Rams pick. I think it was a little early for the Rams. I see why he's doing it. He's got a starting lineup. He's got 3 wide receivers. He's got 2 running backs. He's got his quarterback. He picked his tight end. Then he went and got his defense. I just think it's a little early. I think he could have waited around.
I agree. I mean, and I just don't think for the first couple of weeks, like that Rams defense is it's gonna do you more harm than good for the first few weeks. They're almost unplayable. So unless you really want to roster 2 defenses or, just not have an advantage for the first 5 weeks of the season, then that's fine. But just personally, like, as someone who always streams defenses based on matchups every week, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting the Rams against those teams early on.
So he says he only took the Rams defense because he was running out of time and didn't like anybody else out there.
That's fair.
Yeah, I get it. But you got to get your queue ready. Unfortunately, I'm on the show and I don't want to be all queuing up all kinds of players because I'm on everybody's screen that I have over here. Yeah, no, it's because I want to present the screen, not have this tab up while I'm making picks. You know what I mean? Then it blocks half the stuff that's going on.
I do.
Doesn't show me on auto anymore, and that doesn't have the all picks. Oh, let me hide that. All right, there we go.
I do want to mention Dejon Stribling at the
yes, thank you. I was going to mention him. Yes, I thought that was a really nice pick.
Yeah, he's getting a lot more hype. I would like to see. It's tough. I want to see more of where they're going to deploy him. It's historically, a lot of fantasy rookie wide receivers, they end the year well, but they don't necessarily start the year hot outside of like Puka, but I feel like he's kind of the exception. There are a lot of at the 8-2, I think it's good, but I think that there's a non-zero chance that this guy just isn't really a factor and plays more of a Jawan Jennings role for kind of like a decent amount of the season, especially if Kittle's on track to play week 1, if McCaffrey stays healthy. I know that that's a big ask, but I think that there's a lot of moving parts, and I think there's a chance that he could just not be super exciting early.
No, you're gonna have to wait for him. You let him develop. Guys that I like are this Jaden Reed, Casey Concepcion. I'm really digging him. Blake Corum, he just got taken by Austin Eckler. Some of these picks is I think that's kind of the bread and butter later on, or the meat of your draft. Because now we're here in this 8th, 9th round. Some of those guys are Casey Concepcion could be a league winner, man. That dude, I think, could he's going to be somewhere, be somebody, and do something here. He looks really good, even with bad quarterbacks throwing to him. So imagine if he was with a decent quarterback on a decent team, he'd be a monster.
Right.
Yeah,
I like Josh Downs here as well. Like I've been finding myself drafting a ton of Quentin Johnston and Josh Downs. Josh Downs with Alec Pierce not being healthy to start the season. There's a lot of talk about him starting in 2 wide receiver sets. I just think they're going to use some more anyway.
Here we go.
And I don't even hate pairing him and Jonathan Taylor in the exact same starting lineup, just because they're both 2 wildly different cases. And I think that there's you could argue that Jonathan Taylor can score 2 touchdowns and Josh Downs will still give you 13 fantasy points just based off of catches and yardage. This isn't like a McCaffrey and Mike Evans thing where if one is successful, the other probably has a down week. We've seen that a lot of these Colts players, they get the ball in unique ways.
Yeah.
In very efficient ways as well. And does Daniel Jones scare me? Of course. But at the same time, you can only go off of what you've seen so far. And we've seen that when Josh Downs plays more, he's great. And when Jonathan Taylor has has a capable offense, that he could be a league winner.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I have him in the Dynasty League, and I'm expecting big things from Josh Downs this year.
Yeah.
Let's hope that works out. I picked up Rico Dowdle. I was hearing him getting back with his old coach. He's the one that started him in Dallas. I think he could get a lot of opportunities over there. So I just really like taking him where he's at now in the 9th round. You can't go wrong with him as an RB4 for me right now.
And we saw what he did last year when Chuba Hubbard went down. He went for 200 yards in 2 games. Like, he had like almost 200 yards in 2 straight games. And, he's kind of a spark plug.
I was tempted to take the Houston Texans right now, but no, I just said, no, one more round. I was tempted because this is the 10th round, though. So it wouldn't have been so bad because we're in the 10th now. So I'm free and clear to get a defense now. But I just thought, I need one more wide receiver. I like Jordan Addison. He has his hot moments, hot times during the year. He heats up. So he's a boomer bust type wide receiver, really. But just as a backup, as a week by week replacement dude, I don't mind him at all.
Yep. And here, I'm feeling kind of, sometimes this late in the draft, you got to take a swing. I know I'm stacking a lot
Matthew
of players
Golden.
On the team, but I mean, man, it's like when you hit like the 10th round, this is my wide receiver 5. There is no skin off my back if he busts.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a good dart throw right there. Matthew Golden can get up to him and Jaden Reed.
They just lost Romeo Dobbs. They lost Dontavian Wicks and Christian Watson. There's always the concerns with him. Never rooting for injuries in fantasy, but there is a world in which Matthew Golden is forced to have a bigger role. And if they connected on some of those throws last year when he was a rookie, I think that we could be drafting him 2 rounds higher, just based off the explosives. I love that the guy who took Jadarian Price also just took Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, I just seen that.
I think that's a good pick, but
Let's
also it could be a worst case scenario later in the season, though, if you have both and they play an equal amount of snaps.
Yeah, then
now all of a sudden, I hate being in those who do I start conversations because every time I do it, the guy I don't start scores the touchdown.
Yeah, you want to handcuff the guy that's like for sure the backup, not the timeshare guy. I did like the Jacob Coker pick. Xavier Worthy is going, I think, way too low. I don't think that Rashee Rice is going to get the looks that he's supposed to be getting that it has been getting in the past. I think they're going to be throwing deeper with the new offense that they got going on over there. So I think Xavier Worthy should be shooting up, and he's a steal right there as far as I'm concerned.
Frank, I apologize in advance. I'm so sorry for what I'm about to do.
What you got? Oh, there you go.
I had to.
yeah. That's the right pick. That's the right time. Isaiah Likely, I also like this year a lot. New spot. You've seen him do some nice things over there in Baltimore. And other than Malik Neighbors, there's not a lot of target that he has to be fighting for. So let's pop up right here real quick. I'll go ahead and look for defense.
Point out real quick, I think that KJ's got a pretty good running back group. Am I the biggest fan of Achane? Not really, but at the same time, like I'm not gonna say that his room isn't great because he took a guy that I personally am not high on. But Travis Etienne, amazing, RB2. Ramondre looks like he's going to be the lead back in New England right now. Jordan Mason, the younger, bigger, more physical running back. Aaron Jones is getting up there in age. If anything happens, then it's Jordan Mason's backfield and his alone. And there's another good running back pick. He took Marshawn Lloyd. Like you said, with the Josh Jacobs suspension stuff, there's a chance that and the kind of injury proneness, Marshawn Lloyd could get some playing time. And then Jonah Coleman, J.K. Dobbins is an injury-prone running back. And, a lot of people are betting that they're not going to give R.J. Harvey, a guy of kind of a small stature, that large of a workload as the bell cow. And a guy like Jonah Coleman could come in and, if Dobbins were to get hurt early or something, I think Jonah Coleman could find his way to 8 touchdowns this season.
I love where he's going right now, and I definitely would be picking him up. I'm on Jonah Coleman train as well.
I'm a big fan of this KJ team. CD, Parker Washington, Micah Wilson, and Dejon Stribling. He got Winston Loveland. He's team 11. Yep, I'm a big fan of what he's got going on so far. I think, he's taking everything that's coming to him.
Oh shit, that's my pick. Hold on, got 7 seconds. Dallas Goedert. I'll take a backup tight end.
I like Dallas Goedert this year too, because I think that with the negative Eli Stowers news, and the fact that they loved doing that those kind of shovel passes to him at the goal line, I think that he could be, someone really good as well. Another guy that I like as a late round running back, I'm going to take him right here, is Keaton Mitchell. Anyone who had Keaton Mitchell in that first kind of tiny breakout that he had on the Ravens, how electric he is. He was looking like a potential Devon Achane, and then he ended up hurting his knee, was out for the rest of the season. Now he goes to the Chargers. I think it's his second year with the Chargers. And, Amarian Hampton went down last year with an injury. Mike McDaniel has said he's going to feature a lot of these running backs. There's a chance Keaton Mitchell can get a decent workload between the 20s. And if something were to happen to Amarian Hampton, he could see a much larger workload.
And I agree. I also want to mention Lord of Fanta broke the kicker situation here with Brandon Aubrey there, Kyle Fairman, Cameron Dicker over here, Myers also. So there was like a little run of kickers happening in this round. I almost felt like, aside from the fact that I do know that Goddard was on fire at the end of the year last year, and he's still putting up some decent numbers. That's kind of why I took him, or else I would start looking at these kickers. He took a little over here at the end. They're falling off the board. So we only got 2 more picks left. I'm probably going to look at a kicker next and then just take a flyer on somebody else that I like here towards the end. Just kind of
like the way that they've fallen too. I think the order in which they've gone, Aubrey, Fairbairn, Dicker, Myers, Little, all of the good offenses and the steadiest kickers. Here, just to kind of keep shoring up my running back room, you can never have too many. A guy that should be going way
No.
higher, because if McCaffrey were to get injured with how much people are fading him this year, Kalen Black is the
I'm
guy.
back. Oh yeah, I have him in Dynasty League. Don't get me wrong. Him and what's the other guy's name? I forgot he got injured. I can't remember all the 49er guys.
Isaac Orendo.
Isaac Orendo, yes, because he went down first, but Kaleon back came back earlier, faster, and I do believe. I mean, I'm not sure how long McCaffrey can stay healthy. They're saying that they're managing his workload and blah 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 blah. I'm not sold on that. That dude's probably already injured.
Yeah, I'm not super duper sold on it either.
I'm gonna go with this guy because I think he plays in the dome more than Bates in Denver, which maybe the ball will float better, but they're outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really think that Kellyanne Black could have a big opportunity there in the San Francisco lineup. Even if he's not the lead back, he might actually start splitting carries, or they just to spell McCaffrey, just to give him a break, just to not to run him into the ground. You know what I mean? Like literally just to give him an opportunity to take a breather there, and especially take it off on games that they're already winning or something like that. Which I'm not sure how that's going to go because. I mean, even their coaches, the owner's getting arrested for over here trying to pick up a hooker. Like, come on. I mean, what else could they have happen to this team? The coach gets in an accident. The other guys are injured. Everybody's getting injured due to this. What do they have? The power lines over the practice team. Some substation over there. I don't know. Everything's just like everything that can go wrong with that team is happening. Like it's happening now. I might as well get it all out of the way, right?
Well, I'm a Patriots fan, so I cannot comment on anything in regards to owners and prostitution. Yeah.
Just leave that alone, right? Just leave that.
Yeah, it's a can of worms.
I don't have time to look through the list of guys. I'll just take some Jordan Love as a backup quarterback. Why not?
Right.
I mean, the guy's already here at the bottom, and shoot, I mean, like, what the heck? I'll take that as the last pick.
I'm surprised he doesn't go way earlier. This guy just hit a 69-yard field goal in preseason. Just give me Butker. A lot of the time, there are some guys down there that are.
He just did that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I've seen that. Harrison Butker, man. I mean, hey. It's a good offense, I mean, that's the other thing. You want an offense, you're at least getting that extra point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler Algier, nice little pick. Yeah, that's funny. On this last pick, I mean, neither Neanderthal took Brock Purdy, Jared Goff. I took Jordan Love, Kyler Murray. There was a little run of quarterbacks right there.
Yep.
Excuse me, I got hiccups. Yeah, so I mean that's nice. And you got Chargers going off here. Did these guys, Jay Belanda and KJ Flint, did not take a defense?
Hey, stream one. Carry your team into the beginning of the season and kind of let all of that kind of work itself out.
I think when Anthony does these drafts, he takes out the kickers and the defense. I just didn't change any settings when we started it, and the draft is done. So good job, guys. Thank you for getting on here. Let's kind of look over the teams here a little bit. I'm just kind of scrolling up and down here, kind of looking at everybody. I'm not going to grade myself because, I took some auto picks in between there. But quite honestly, I did like my start of Saquon Barkley or Marion Hampton, Devontae Smith, who I think is going to have a nice year, breakout year for Ladd McConkey. He was tearing it up last year. And Tyron Henderson is where it went bad. But, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. And over Drake May, Malachi Lemon, I really like him. I didn't want to take Pitts there, nor would I have. I do like Rico Dowdle. Again, just filling in with Jordan Addison. I wanted to take the Seahawks. Defense has been pretty solid. Dallas Goedert. We got the kicker here from LA, and then Jordan Love to round it out. Who'd you end up here with, Dylan?
So took Jonathan Taylor round one. It's I think I made the right choice because if I took a receiver there like JSN in the second round, then I'm probably having to take Ashton Genty as my RB1 or Kyron Williams. Took Malik Neighbors on the turn. A lot of it's just feeling it out. It's just getting your guys when they fall to you and allowing yourself to take value. I think a lot of people, they come into a draft with one specific strategy, I had mentioned how the 2 running back strategy is probably the best that you can have, but a lot of the time your other league mates aren't going to afford you that luxury, especially when you're picking from a spot like the 105, 104, and after that, AJ Brown and Malik Neighbors. That's a great wide receiver room. Took Josh Jacobs just because later in the draft I wasn't looking to kind of allow another running back to slip. Maybe Tootin in the next round could have been a decent pick. Maybe T. Higgins. After that, going Luther Burden. Wide receiver 3, boomer bust. Give me all the upside. We see every year there have to be receivers that are young that break out.
He's on the upside with the bullet and breakout season coming up,
and it's
just like Colston.
It's the nature of the sport, and I'll never understand why in fantasy all of the breakout candidates go in the 5th round, because every year there is a breakout player. It's no draft is ever going to be everyone's ADP is perfect and Luther Burden is like okay, and all of the other young potential superstar wide receivers are just okay. There's always, there will be one, maybe 2, but you got to find them, and that's kind of the name of the game, is you just have to guess and you have to trust your gut. After that, got Tucker Kraft sniped from me. Dick move. But Harold Fannin, was the next guy on my board by a pretty large margin too. I think if I didn't get Fannin there, then I'd be a little worried going into the season in regards to tight end. J.K. Dobbins, I love him as a running back 3. If this guy falls into the end zone, that's a free, a great flex week. Justin Herbert, Josh Downs, Matthew Golden, shore up the quarterback. I have a lot of quarterbacks in the exact same tier this year. Josh Downs, Matthew Golden. I think Downs is criminally underrated at the moment, especially with that Alec Pierce injury that could nag for most of the season. Matthew Golden, a dart throw. Texans defense, it's the Texans defense. Keaton Mitchell, Kalen Black, just in case type players where I've never been a fan of drafting my own handcuff. I like drafting everyone else's handcuffs because that's a direct advantage if their guys were to go down, especially when I have such a durable player in Jonathan Taylor. And then Harrison Butker, you can find these kickers. I mean, Harrison Butker being the last kicker taken, that just shows you that you don't need to take one early unless you really want
solid. Unless you really want Brandon out. Harrison Butker is solid. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think my receiver room could have been better. I think, if a couple picks go different ways, maybe Tucker Kraft makes it to my pick. I think I like it a lot more. I like Herbert. I was kind of hoping Caleb Williams would fall to me so I could stack him and Luther Burden. Just to kind of give myself some insurance. If Luther Burden doesn't really pop off, but another player does, at least I'm still kind of getting those points. But all in all, I like my team. I think it's one that I would be happy to trot out there. The only thing that I would say I wish could be different was the tight end. But hey, that's how it rolls. And who knows, man? There's so many times where you'll pick a player that you're not overly excited about. And that guy will come out and have 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way with you. I didn't want Kyle Pitts. I would have been happy to trust Kelsey. I would have even waited for Isaiah Likely.
Yep.
And that's why I shorted him up with Dallas Goedert. Who do you think had the best draft here?
Ooh, it's a tough one.
While you look that over, I want to shout out to our guy real quick. Think about it.
Cool.
It says, can I do a mock draft with y'all? And I did respond, yes, we will be doing another mock draft soon. I got some actual drafts next week, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I gotta talk to Dylan, see his availability, and see when we could fill another mock draft. But definitely join our sleeper channel. I post there, and we have a Discord channel. It's kind of mixed bag over there, but I'll definitely be posting when we're going to have another one here soon. So hopefully that bought you some time to take a look at the teams. Let me know. What do you think?
I think my 2 favorites, with kind of removing any kind of bias, I'm not going to rank myself or your team.
I mean, we don't have to do
best are Dem Boys and KJ. And I think it's, you know, you look on those teams and it's just nothing but great players, especially in this format with the one flex. You know, Pickens, London, Higgins might be a little bit better than CD, Parker Washington, Michael Wilson. But Achane, ETN, Ramondre, and then the three that he took later versus
Washington, Wilson,
yeah,
Deshaun
versus
Stribling.
Gibbs, Judkins, and Jalen Warren. I think Jalen Warren, especially like Tyrone Tracy. I think Tyrone Tracy's arguably undraftable at the moment. And Jalen Warren, he's good, but he's frustrating. He's always been kind of a frustrating player. You know, especially with Rico Dowdle there. You know, he's never the guy. He never takes that step that you really want him to take in order to become one of those 15, 20 point per game scorers. I mean, but man, outside of that, like, I love Dem Boy's team. I mean, Jaden Daniels, I like him as a player. His team right now is a little terrifying. But that's just kind of, you know, again, the nature of things. I just think you look at Dem Boys' team, his composition, and you see, you know, Jaden Daniels, Jahmyr Gibbs, Quinshon Judkins, love that running back room. And then his two receivers and his flex are George Pickens, Drake London, and T. Higgins. It's like when you see him in his matchup, or when you're on your matchup screen and you see that team, you're looking down the board like, oh man, that guy could score 20. That guy could score 20. That guy's going to get touchdown opportunity. That guy is literally Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, you know, it's Jake Ferguson. You look at Jake Ferguson and you're just hoping that, like, if Jake Ferguson gets a touchdown, he wins the week because everyone else is going to be included. And that's how I feel about KJ's team. But I think KJ's team's a little more boom potential. You know, Achane, he's just going to get he might get all of every ball. They might just only give it to him this season. CeeDee Lamb, you know, terrifying to play against. Colston Loveland, a guy that could also score 20 at a tight end position, you know, and then he's got ETN and he has a choice to really start Michael Wilson or Deshaun Stribling or Ramondre in any given week, you know, and so he has kind of like a very, very strong core, and is kind of able to he's kind of got some I forget what the figure of speech is, but you know, he's got riches. You know, he's kind of he gets to kind of pick and choose what he would like in terms of matchups every week. And especially with those guys, like, that is, you couldn't ask for anything better. You know, when you've got three startable guys for one flex position, if this was a real league, you know, if I was him, you start the year, you know, then you look to kind of make trades. You know, you package two of them, you go up and you get, say, like, I don't know, if Javonte maybe has been kind of rusty, or you know, Josh Jacobs. If my team is struggling and I need depth,
when he goes on to a suspension for a week or two, and you're like, oh,
and it's
I'll
like,
trade him for you right now.
Yeah, and I mean, his team, you know, is kind of built to look at those teams that are losing early and kind of be their lifeline while also making his own team better. And truly, that is how you win leagues. You know, you're able to package depth because you drafted well, and you're able to give the depth to someone else while simultaneously creating a god squad. You know, I had that last year. I think in my 10-team league, I ended the season with Jahmyr Gibbs. I forget I think it was like Chase Brown. I had JSN and Puka on the same team. And I lost first round because all of them didn't want to show up in the first round of the playoffs. But
right,
that's where you get when you start talking to the really bad teams. You trade away some of your depth, and they're offering you the farm. They'll give you anything just in order to stay afloat, and that's kind of that's where the good teams separate themselves from the bad teams. And I think a guy like KJ would have a unique opportunity to go out and poach maybe like a Justin Jefferson. If this guy's team isn't performing very well and he needs a wide receiver and a flex, it's a good squad. I think it's him and them boys. I think you drafted
them boys said, I'm not a big fan of drafting in the top 3 this year. Is at least not in the late rounds. I wasn't happy with how it fell.
The late rounds aren't great. And you almost can never in a 12-team scoring format start with 2 running backs. So that's kind of stressful, but as long as you get that guy like Judkins, I think you come out of it better than you ever could have been.
So I'll give you my number 1 here before we go here. And I've drafted with this guy many times. I've seen many of his drafts. And I'll give one up to the Lord of Fanta. He's originally Lord of Fantasy, but since he couldn't fit his name, he actually changed it to Fanta, which kudos to him because he just
now he's a soda brand.
Yeah. He took the nickname that we gave him and he ran with it. But the dude's a solid drafter. Look at his team. You got James Cook, Ken Walker. So he's got the 2 RBs. Then he goes Chris Olave, Zay Flowers, and Devontae Adams. He gets his 3 wide receivers. Jonathan Brooks, who's going to be hopefully maybe a breakout this year or comeback player for this season. Cortland Sutton, which is okay. Travis Kelce and Dalton Kincaid, so he shores up his tight ends, albeit a little bit older. Dalton Kincaid's got some issues. It's probably the weakest spot of his team, I think. Kyle Monangai, who I had last year, he's a little bit injured, but he is eating into DeAndre Swift, so he doesn't need him till later on in the season. And he could be a trade piece, like you mentioned. I like Patrick Mahomes. Who doesn't like Mahomes? He's still a solid QB,
exactly.
Like no matter what, coming back from injury or not. Took the number 1 kicker, Brandon Aubrey.
The Patrick Mahomes is being taken in the, what round was it? The 11th.
Yeah, imagine that. Wow. He used to be like a Josh Allen way up
third
here.
Round pick. Yeah,
second, 3rd round pick. But I mean, look how far the mighty have fallen. But he's still a mighty. I mean, don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah, and in very very soon we will see him most likely going back to being one of those in like the Joe Burrow, Drake May, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels tier. Because he doesn't have like the rushing upside of the other 2, the Jackson and Allen. But I mean, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, man. That guy. I watched Tom play for 20 years, and the only other quarterback that I've seen with my own 2 eyes, like live while I've been alive, who has scared me to death is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
it's game's never over.
Yeah, it's not over. It's not over. He's still like up and running, right? If he's still good, you got 20 seconds, 30 seconds left on the clock. They'll come down on your throat. Don't worry about it, right? Like, calm down. Again, he took the best kicker, and then he got the Vikings defense. Still short up his Kyler Murray over there, who's looking really good over there in Minnesota.
Yeah,
he might have a resurgence this year. Then my second guy would be Austin Eckler here. I just kind of worry about his running backs with McCaffrey. Maybe I just think it's an injury year for him. Ashanti Genti is already kind of banged up already. Rashi Rice, and I just don't think he's going to be what he was. But I mean, the names are there, right? Garrett Wilson, Tyler Warren, I really like. He should have a decent year. The same Tate, Godwin as well. He's getting a little underdrafted. You got Ja'Cory Bill over here. Blake Corum, who could eat up some carries there. He could. Last year, he was eating into Kyron Williams, and he could easily take his spot if Kyron goes down. He's done it before. He also backed it up with Isaiah Likely, who I really like this year as well as his backup tight end. Takes Trevor Lawrence, who I think is going to be a breakout year for him. He was killing it last year at the end of the year. Rashad White, just kind of a filler piece as well as Rashid, and then taking the Chargers at the end. Those are my 2 guys that I seen that would stand out in this draft. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you for coming, showing up on the show here. We're getting into exactly the hour time here, so it was kind of perfect timing here. Right. I don't know when we're going to have another one. Dylan and I are going to discuss it, but we're going to get back to you guys, probably do another mock draft. Try to get in as many as we can before the season actually starts. I got to look at my schedule next week because I am actually doing real drafts. So I might have to do the show after the draft because I got to get my prep time. And like I said, I concentrate. I get a war room status. don't bother me. I'm drafting. Like, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Anthony likes to have stuff happening. Like, yeah, he likes to have stuff happening. I'm like, no, turn off the music.
I need to be locked in.
Yeah, exactly. I need to be locked in. I need to see who's getting picked now, and like I need to start planning on where I'm going to be taking these guys. Do I need to reach? Do I not need to reach? What's going on with my peoples? That's how I draft. Everybody has their own style.
A mock right before, like a mock or two right before my actual draft, because it almost feels like you're in the locker room before like a big boxing match. You're sparring a little bit and you're kind of just warming up beforehand, because if you don't mock at all and then you go into it, sometimes you can just overheat and you can take players that within a round you're thinking to yourself, oh man, like that was not what I wanted, and now you're unhappy with your team. And I think that, and especially for everybody out there, I think the most important part about drafting in fantasy football is you need to leave your draft happy. You need to be content with your team. If you are looking at your team and you think, man, I already need to make trades, I already need to go out and, work the waiver wire, then, there was a preparation issue, or, the board just fell horrifically. But even then, it's knowing your spot, and it's knowing who will be there at certain picks and picking accordingly.
Yeah, and mock. And hopefully you mock with people that stay in the whole mock, not just auto pick. But some guys do like the first 4 or 5 picks and then they're gone.
Yeah, they leave.
Yeah, that's why it's so cool to do with guys like this that are G-Gens, that are willing to sit through the whole mock, sit there and try to build an actual team that they would actually play that year. That's the way I look at it. When I look at a mock, I'm trying to build my team, and I try to take a different position each time. I haven't taken the early 1, 2, 3 yet this year, but I'm probably going to do it tonight or tomorrow. And I've taken a couple late picks and then do a couple middle picks, because you need to be ready for the position. You don't know. I mean, unless you actually already know your draft order. But most of my leagues, you come in that 1 hour before the show,
same day.
You know that's when you know your draft order. You know what I mean? That's when we pick it for you. So really mock. Anyways, guys, on that note, come join us again. Let's see, maybe sometime next week. Dylan and I are going to catch up when we're going to be available. But appreciate you guys joining us. And peace out, man. We're going to be back here sometime next week here, hopefully.
Yes, sir.
Peace out.